One of the biggest criticisms about keto and the ketogenic lifestyle in general is that we really can't have fruit on this lifestyle. And one of the things that critics usually say when they are criticizing keto is, but you can't have fruit on keto and fruit is natural. In this video, we're going to talk about the argument against fruit and our gut feelings on the fruit situation on keto and what fruits you can have and which ones you should avoid, and why we just don't eat a lot of fruit anymore and think that other people shouldn't either. This should go without saying, Sarah and I are not medical professionals. We are not nutritionists, but we are people who have been heavily impacted by obesity, and we feel like we have opinions about fruit and modern humans since we are modern humans. We'd hope so. You know, it really irks me when people say that a good reason why you shouldn't do keto is because you can't have fruit. That's because, logically speaking, humans never had access to fruit. I mean, we would have fruit seasonally, rarely, if we came across a tree with a piece of fruit on it that was ripe. You would never go into nature and find 20 strawberries at a time or every single day. Or you wouldn't have an apple pie that had 10 apples in it. You wouldn't come across these things in nature. And fruit is just so seasonal. And that's not even taking into consideration that fruit is not the same as it was hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. We have bred fruit to be extremely sweet, and that's what we find desirable. No one breeds it to be less sweet. It's only more sweet. I doubt that fruit today would be comparable to fruit even 100 years ago. And evolutionary-wise, we have not caught up to the amount of sugar that is found in fruits today. So one of the greatest examples that I can think of, and I only know this is true because I've tasted a crab apple before and it was disgusting. A crab apple is kind of like a feral apple that you would find in someone's backyard. They're typically grown for their flower show in the spring. They have beautiful flowers in the spring. If you taste the apple that is the fruit of a crab apple, it does not taste good compared to a normal apple. Why? We've bred this apple to be sweet and have the right texture and have the right color. And the crab apple is just naturally what it's supposed to be, right? And so the sugar content in that apple is going to be far less than a conventional apple that you would find at the grocery store. And that's why apples have 24 carbs per apple, which is a lot of sugar. One of the other examples that I came across of this in action was watermelon. And there's an Insider magazine article that talks about this painting. It's a 17th century painting that was made between 1645 and 1672. And it appears to be a watermelon that is drawn as kind of like a fruit arrangement, right? But you look at this watermelon and it
looks like a pomegranate.
It doesn't look like a watermelon that we recognize, right? Look at the rind. Look at the white part. It is 90% white and 10% red, and the seeds are huge, and it just doesn't look edible. You would probably take a spoon and try to dig around the white parts, and how much actual juicy watermelon would you get out of this
Not much.
specimen? Right? Now let's look at what they've compared it to, a traditional watermelon that we buy in the grocery store. Look at the difference, okay? The other one doesn't even look edible, and here is what we eat, and the other one is only 400 years old ago. That's what a watermelon looked like. And now we've bred it and turned it into this thing. And that's why watermelon is so monstrously high in carbs. So we have not caught up to the amount of sugar that we've bred into these fruits. If you go down in this article is actually called What Foods Looked Like Before Genetic Modification. And you might be thinking, oh, GMO, it's in a lab. This is not genetic modification that you would say, oh, this is scary in a laboratory. This is a farmer tastes this apple and it's way sweeter than this apple. So they take this apple and they combine it with another sweet apple to create
a new apple.
A new apple that's even sweeter. That is what farmers have been doing for thousands of years, right? The last one I'll bring up from this article that I found really fascinating is this section of the article about peaches, which I had no idea. It says here that peaches used to be small, cherry-like fruits with little flesh. They were first domesticated around 4000 BC by the ancient Chinese and tasted earthy and slightly salty, like a lentil. Comparative to a modern peach, it says 90% edible flesh, soft, edible skin, 10% stone,
64 times larger.
sweet, refreshing, and juicy.
That's crazy. I didn't know that actually about, I didn't realize that they would be as small as cherries.
Been breeding this, and our body is literally almost the same as it was thousands of years ago.
So my example that's easy to understand is like the Naked and Afraid, where two people are put on an island and they're naked, and they're given like a knife and like a bag. That's pretty much, they can pick 2 items. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into it, but they pretty much starve for 21 days because there's nothing to eat. So their mission is to pretty much stay alive. They have to build their own shelter, and they have to look for their own food and water. And pretty much there's a common theme is pretty much they starve for 21 days before they're rescued, or they get to the rescue point.
Or they get sick from eating something.
This is how it would be in nature. You wouldn't be able to go to like your local grocery store and walk the aisle and every fruit imaginable at any time of year. It just wouldn't be possible. That's the modern agriculture has done, is like allowed you to eat fruit whenever you want. But I truthfully believe that an apple a day keeps ketosis away. So that's what we say here on the Keto Twins channel. Do we eat fruit?
We believe that if you're trying to lose weight with keto, you should not be eating fruit. If you do, we will talk about the fruit that you can have in small quantities on this lifestyle. But if you are in maintenance and you go to Hawaii or something like that on vacation and you want to have a pineapple that was grown in Hawaii, you go to a pineapple farm or whatever, have the pineapple. Have it. You only live once. If you're in maintenance, go for it. But if you're really missing fruit, there's a way that you can have the taste of it without all the added sugar. And that brings us to today's sponsor, LMNT.
Cheers.
LMNT is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. LMNT is formulated to help anybody with their electrolyte needs, especially somebody on a ketogenic diet. We love this product and we share it with you guys all the time, and we're so happy that they decided to partner with us to support our channel. And we are so happy that so many of you have signed up to get your free sample pack from LMNT to try all the flavors. It really helps us drink more water. Sarah and I are terrible about drinking water. We mostly drink coffee, but when we drink LMNT, it just ups our water game so much. We drink 2 to 3 times more water than we normally would, and you don't need to mix in the whole packet. Sarah and I will sometimes share a packet and we'll drink multiple waters a day and just sprinkle it on. It gives the water such a nice taste. And for a limited time, our Keto Twins community can get a free sample pack from LMNT, and you can try all the flavors. All you have to do is pay for shipping. You can visit the link in the description below. It's drinklmnt.com/ketotwins, and you can get your sample pack today. So you think about monkeys, right? And you think about how monkeys love bananas. But what if I told you that we came across an article recently, it was actually from a couple years ago. It says here that humans have bred fruits to be so sweet that a zoo had to stop feeding them to some animals.
This article was published in 2018, and it's about a zoo in Australia, and it says that they are weaning some of their animals off of fruit because they were too sweet for the animals' own good. Red pandas and primates have been gaining weight, and some had signs of tooth decay as well. And then the article goes on to say that what we already talked about, that fruits have been cultivated and genetically modified for thousands of years. So they're very much different than their natural counterparts, that they call them ancestral fruits. So some animals at the Melbourne Zoo, particularly red pandas and monkeys, have developed a sweet tooth for genetically modified fruit that they've been given over the years. If they could, many of them would eat mostly fruit and then completely ignore other less sweet foods that are normally provided to them to try to help them maintain a balanced diet. So the solution for the zoo animals is simple. Keepers have switched red pandas' diets from fruits to little nutritional pellets sweetened with just a little bit of pear, and trading out fruits for other animals with green leafy vegetables, which are still rich in nutrients, aka keto.
We are just not meant to be eating the amount of sugar that we are consuming, and it's killing us. And that's not even just to say fruit. It's everything that we eat. It's in salty stuff. It's in sweet stuff. It's everywhere. And it's even in the natural things like fruit. And so to people who say, but fruit is natural, kind of, but you're eating like the Incredible Hulk of fruit every time you eat an apple. You're not eating what apples were meant to taste.
We actually had a comment in one of our older videos, I think it was like the Keto 101 video, where someone was having issues getting into ketosis. And she said that she didn't realize how many carbohydrates were in an apple or in a peach, and she was eating one every day, and she never reached ketosis. And that video kind of explained to her that she couldn't just go and eat fruit, because she had been taught that like an apple a day keeps the doctor away sort of mentality, and she was just so used to eating fruit every day that she didn't realize it. So we really think think it's important for you guys to understand that sugar is sugar, carbohydrates are carbohydrates, and if you eat too many of them, they might kick you or keep you out of ketosis.
But we know that fruit is one of those things that you are going to want to have occasionally. We like it too. So we're going to go over very quickly some of the fruits that you can have on keto occasionally and how many carbs there is in a serving. If this isn't your first video about fruit and keto, then you would probably know that they're probably going to talk to you about berries being your best choice in this scenario. So we like blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries. We'll put up a little infographic here. We're getting this from dietdoctor.com. We can link this article as well below. But it says here that raspberry, blackberry, and strawberries have about 5 to 6 net carbs per 3.5 ounces. You don't need that much on keto. You could make a little sauce with some sweetener and some lemon juice, and you can use that as a topping on some keto ice cream or whipped cream, and that's an excellent choice. Blueberries were sneaky though. I did not know that blueberries had as many carbs in it as they do. Blueberries has about double the amount as strawberries and raspberries do. So I would be very cautious about blueberries because it says here about 3 handfuls of blueberries has about 12 net carbs. So that's a lot, and I probably would avoid it. These berries that are keto friendly, comparatively a banana has about 20 net carbs in it, which is a lot. I think an apple has about 19 to 20 net carbs in it. It's very, very high. Cherries are pretty high. So you can't really have this that often, but like I said, if you go to somewhere like Hawaii and you're in maintenance, then have the pineapple. I mean, how often are you going to do that? It's all about being realistic too. It's not to say that fruit is evil or anything like that. And you know, I know that there's been a lot of other keto channels that are talking about fruit lately, and we have not watched these videos just because, I mean, we don't want to like regurgitate the same information to all of you. We have our own opinions as to how we think that we should be eating, and we share those with you. So we really don't know what's said in these other videos. I know that fruit has a lot of vitamins in it, but you can get a lot of these vitamins from green leafy vegetables. If you really want the fruit, have it once in a while. Otherwise, try to stay away from it.
The main thing is trying to stay under a certain threshold. And if you want to eat some of those and take up some of your carb allowance with fruits or berries or whatever, then you can do that, but you're just going to have to really limit your stuff for the rest of the day, or you potentially can be kicked out of ketosis.
I mean, you have to ask the question too, is eating an apple better than eating a Snickers bar? Sure, of course it is. So,
but no one is going to be choosing between those two.
That's true. I mean, there's no competition. I'm probably going to go for the Snickers bar over the apple.
Rarely is there like apple, Snickers bar next to each other in the
Well, did you ever go to a trick-or-treating and someone would give like apples?
Yeah, no one would pick that.
That would get your windows broken in Chicago if you gave out apples or toothbrushes.
So we want to know if you guys actually sacrifice other things on keto so that you can squeeze fruit into your macros. Let us know in the comment section below. And fall is just around the corner, and if you guys are missing apples, we did have a recipe where we made a faux apple pie, and it was really delicious.
It was like the one from McDonald's.
Yes, and you can click on the video on the screen, and we'll see you over there. Anyway, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Emily.
And we are the Keto Twins signing out.